Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RotoWire Fantasy Soccer Podcast. My name is Andrew Laird, Senior Soccer Editor of RotoWire, joining this Friday, November 6th, with Jordan Cooper, joined by, to talk about Saturday's Premier League slate. Jordan, we had a two-game Premier League slate on Friday, which is why we are a little delayed, but they made up for it for this three-gamer on Saturday by letting Olivier Giroud be the most expensive player on the slate.
Is there a reason for that?
As I tweeted, I think they finally put in the good looks into the algorithm, and so that's who else would you put up there?
Do you get points for like hair assisted or something, or something like that? I don't know. Why is he 9,300?
Winks to
Why
teammates.
Why is he 9,300 and Werner's 8,400?
It's a little wacky. I actually made that comment in the Discord, and people are like, "It's not that bad," and I'm like, "Well, even if you throw out Giroud as the most expensive, like Zaha, Townsend, and Michael Antonio being more expensive than Werner or really any of the Chelsea guys feels a little odd."
Yeah, especially when Crystal Palace is an underdog.
They are. Like the goalkeeper. So when I saw that, I was like, not to like skip ahead all this, but I assumed that Edouard Mendy would be cheap because it's like, well, they obviously just screwed up the lines, but they didn't in terms of the goalkeeper. But I don't know. These are weird.
Yeah, but I think you're going to get a better price on probably Leeds players.
Slightly, yeah.
Right. But I mean, this slate, it was still. Can we get to the point where there are fans in the stands that we're not getting this? It's not coming this year, right?
No.
Isn't COVID going up? I mean, we're going to just constantly get these split slates where, I mean, I think on this one, I don't think we have anything to worry about necessarily as far as rotation. I mean, maybe Fulham.
I think maybe. I think Chelsea's really the one we would want first, but it doesn't really matter.
Right. I don't think so. I think by the time you're switching players, like you could fit the guys that you want in.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with the staggered start is just having to actually just check every 3 hours.
Right, because this slate starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which means you're making your lineups when the lineups come out at 9, and it ends at 5 o'clock. Right, because of the 3 o'clock game goes until 5, so it's
a work day.
It's a full work day, right? Exactly. It's like going to work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course you get screwed by a goalkeeper at the end.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But on this slate, so the early game, 10 o'clock, is Leeds at Crystal Palace. Leeds are plus 147 favorite, so barely anything. That's one of the lower totals on the slate. That's the lowest. Minus 105 to the under 2.5. Then we have Chelsea at home. They're the biggest favorite, minus 256 currently against Sheffield. That totals close to 3, but just a little tad under. And then the late game is West Ham is at home. Fulham's visiting, minus 117 as the favorite. And that totals hovering a little over 2.5. So at forward, I mean, I normally hate forward, but are you paying $9,000 for Andros Townsend?
No.
He has a floor. You have to say that he has a floor, but that's pretty much all he has.
Right. He does have a floor. I think the floor could take a hit if Van Aanholt takes on some corners because Milivojevic is suspended and PVA was taking them before he got hurt last season. I just don't see a reason to take Townsend. I mean, like the floor is the reason to take him over Werner, but to like have to pay 600 more to get the safety of, let's call it
11 points.
I was going to say 8, but like if you want to say it's 11, sure. And I think Werner's floor, let's call it aggressively low, calling it 4, like 2 shots and a cross and maybe a foul drawn. The fact that like Werner's goal upside is just so much higher, is the highest on the slate. It's not like hugely high. It's not Messi in this week's Champions League, but like I just don't see the benefit of paying up for Townsend and then just losing out on upside that you'd get from Werner.
Right, especially when we have on this slate there are midfielders to pay for. Like at 9,000, if he was only midfield eligible, I'd laugh you out of the podcast for playing him over some of the other guys in the midfield slot. So
Absolutely.
to me, if I'm going to fill a forward slot on a slate that I'm not a fan of the forward position at all, I might as well take the highest goal scoring odds player if I'm going to choose at that range. But I think that the most popular one is going to be Bowen at 7,700.
Yeah, I think so too. And his floor hasn't been that great, but like playing home against Fulham is where you play guys like him.
Well, his floor hasn't been great because the last 3 games he's been playing top sides.
Yeah,
and West Ham aren't good.
No.
So like if you're gonna fill a forward slot with a guy that shares set pieces and still has decent goal scoring odds.
Yeah,
I mean, he's sitting there at plus 200. I mean, it's very similar to Zaha, and you're getting a $1,500, $1,300 discount, and he's on a favored team. I mean, Palace is a dog on this game to Leeds, so like I'd much prefer Bowen, but like outside of him, I don't want to play anyone.
Yeah. So West Ham played Tottenham, away to Tottenham, home against Man City, and away to Liverpool. So those are the 3 that you were referencing. Who he's played against, and he's been awful. So I think there are decent plays on the slate if they were like 2,000 cheaper. Like I would have considered Lookman if he was like 5,300. But he's
isn't he splitting set pieces, or I mean, at least in the last game, right?
I mean, even if he's not getting that much from the set pieces anyway. But like, let's say he did, like 7,300 is insane.
Right. Yeah. It's still overpriced, but I mean, we're still looking at it in comparison to the player pool that's here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have a problem with Leeds being favored to go and play Elder Costa. Right, I have no problem playing.
You love Helder Costa.
Yeah, well, because I lucked out with he scored like 2 goals when I played him in cash last time. But who else is here? I mean, Cavallero, he's probably not even going to be in.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right, because if you're going to play the Fulham guy, if you're going to play someone like Cavallero, you're dead if they're not in because there's no one underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I mean, in the late game, I mean, so who? I mean, I'm done. I mean, who else? Is Easy going to be in? Probably not.
Probably not.
Right? So, I mean, there's so many people in the forward pool that's just, like, literally not going to play. So, like, who would you play? I mean...
I think Batshuayi is fine.
I guess. I mean,
you're just playing for his goal odds, though. Nothing
right.
else.
I mean, but why don't you play Hilaire?
Yeah, you could play Hilaire. Or where Yarmo... Wow, he's a lot more expensive. I don't know why Yarmolenko's 6,800, but I think you're in trouble if Hilaire doesn't start.
Well, but if Antonio's out, who's going to start?
It could be Yarmolenko.
Well, who's going to start at center forward?
He would.
Yarmolenko?
Sure.
Have they been playing that way? When the hell has he been a center forward?
He's come on for He came on for Antonio in the last 2, Antonio's last 2 games.
But have they switched formations? Really?
Not really.
They've been playing like with a false 9 or something. Yeah. You don't think of Yarmolenko as a center forward.
Yeah, it's more like a false 9, which Antonio basically is himself.
Right, but at least Antonio's a target. Yarmolenko is the guy that typically would cross to a guy like Antonio.
Yeah, I guess. Hilaire stinks. That's the problem.
Yeah, but he's 5,600.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Well, I'm saying that's a reason for West Ham to play Yarmolenko.
Oh, okay, that's the reason. Okay, now I get it. But I mean, it's not like it gives Yarmolenko much value as a center forward when he's primarily his floor comes from crossing.
Right.
Unless he's crossing it to himself.
That would be helpful. Yeah.
Even if Yarmolenko starts, he doesn't go 90.
What's that?
Yarmolenko doesn't even go 90 if he does start.
No.
Right? He'd die if he goes 90. Get out of here.
They have the international break coming up. So they don't care.
I guess. But all this does is make me like, why don't I just play Lookman?
Exactly.
Why don't I just play Werner? Just do Werner, Bowen, and just be done with it. Just whatever. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. I don't think it leads you to Lookman. I think it leads you to Werner. Or, I mean, I think if you're considering Werner, then you can get away with like Abraham if he starts, or Callum Hudson-Odoi. But like, if you're going to rely on a goal-dependent guy, take one from the highest implied goal total. Like, it's as simple as that.
Right. Instead of like, oh, I'll save 300 and get Patrick Bamford. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Right. And it's not like these guys. It's not like you have to pay $9,500 for these guys.
Right, and they're most likely going to be popular, right?
Right. Well, from an ownership perspective, go nuts on Zaha and Townsend because I don't know why anybody would play them at those prices.
Right. I think midfield is more interesting this slate than anything else.
Agreed.
Because midfield, you could go a lot of ways, and I think it seems like half the player pool is overpriced. Seems like everyone on this slate is overpriced.
I was going to say, it's only half?
The whole pool is overpriced.
I think the only guy who's underpriced on the slate is Werner.
It's kind of weird to say, but you're probably right. Because I think Ziyech is priced appropriately.
Yep.
I think Mount is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea's now splitting set pieces a million ways, so like none of them. Don't even worry about who's on. It's just a little bonus. You get a little 3-point floor bonus. Yeah. Like who cares? The question is, what's going on with Leeds? Because with Phillips out, I mean, they had like if Hernandez is in and Cleach is in and Harrison took a couple, but I mean, you're not getting a discount. I mean, Harrison's $7,900.
You're not getting. I mean, they're all overpriced.
Right. I mean, like Harrison was $4,100 for NYCFC. So like that was back at the MLS. Hey, I remember my roots.
There it is.
How do I play an NYCFC player in an EPL slate at $7,900?
And there was a time for Champions League people. There was a time that New York City FC had Jack Harrison and Angelino. Somehow never won MLS Cup. Anyway, Harrison should be more expensive than the other guys. The problem is that the baseline for Hernandez and Clich is so high, unnecessarily high, that Harrison then just becomes too expensive too.
Right, but then who do you play? We're talking about all the people that we don't want to play, but we have to play some of these players.
Tom Kearney.
Do you really want to play him at $6,900?
Why not?
Okay, I guess you're right. Why am I? What am I supposed to do? Submit an empty lineup? I got to put players in the lineup.
I think you are going to have to pay down, and I'll explain why. I think you're going to have to pay down at one, either midfield or utility. And so you may have the money to like say, do I want to play Kearney, Harrison, or Mount? And I think Kearney's the safest one.
For the price, I guess. There's no way I pay $5,600 for Jorginho. I could tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
There's one guy in midfield to me that sticks out, and it may not be the same. It may not be the same guy that, because you were telling me before that you got some cheapies at midfield, and I didn't. I mean, I see punts, but nothing that stands out. I think one guy I'll play this guy in cash, and because West Ham is favored, and he can get forward. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Souček?
Yeah,
okay. I thought you were going to say Fornals at first, and I was like, eh.
Souček has a plus 250 goal scoring odds. He's 4,200. He gets tackles, he gets shot. I mean, he's not a crosser or anything, but in a favored position if the West Ham is playing with three in the back, so with wing backs, like his defensive duties aren't as strong. He's going to play box to box. We've seen him get in up on set pieces, so he's not going to be back. He's going to be up in the box for those. At 4,200, I think he has more. I think for the price, I think he has a floor for the price, and I think he has upside at 4,200, as much upside as guys that are in the 5K range. So, like, I have no problem punting with him. I mean, it's not a true punt, but 4,200 seems fine to me.
The 5K range is a waste. Like, I wouldn't touch any of those guys.
Well, typically you'd be looking in the defender range for that.
Right.
But I think I like Souček better than the defenders in that range.
You don't consider Sander Berge just a $1,200 cheaper version of Souček?
No, because he's playing for Sheffield United against the biggest favorite.
He's $3,000.
So I'll take West Ham or favorite. Fulham's horrible. West Ham is the second highest. West Ham is projected, based on implied odds, to score 0.31 more goals than Leeds. And Leeds is typically, the free-flowing offense, we don't care about defense type of team. Why aren't I playing West Ham? Like if I had a choice between West Ham and Fulham.
I don't think Souček is a bad
and Sheffield. Play. I mean, come on.
I'll give that to you. I don't think he's a bad play.
Okay.
I was actually wondering if you were going to walk me down the N'Golo Kante idea of well, Chelsea's heavily favored and he could take a shot, but I think Souček makes more sense than Kante or. I mean, there's no way you're playing Jorginho. But
right, I thought you were going to talk me into playing someone like Zambo and Gisa, or why are you playing these guys?
No, I think Burge is the guy. He took a penalty last week.
So he took a penalty. Wow.
I'm just saying you don't get guys at 3,000 that are on penalties.
True, but
in the age of
are
VAR.
They getting a penalty?
I mean, who knows?
Well, you're right. Who does know, right?
I mean.
But what's the difference between him and Declan Rice? Is there any distinguishable difference?
Penalties.
Other than he took one.
Yeah.
You don't know.
He took 100% of their last one, Jordan.
Oh,
he's got a penalty monopoly.
Right. There you go.
He crosses. That's why. Or he has been crossing. I'll put it that way. That's the difference between him and Declan Rice. Or anybody in a 3,000 salary range.
There's no one else here. I mean, unless he managed to see a Max Myers start or something. That probably doesn't happen.
No, probably not. Yeah, I don't think you want any of these guys. It's pretty gross.
Defense. Are the Chelsea fullbacks worth it anymore? All these guys are overpriced now. They're not going to take that.
I wrote in my article that I think Reece James is worth it. Because he's not on corners anymore. That we've seen a very consistent floor without having to worry about the set pieces. And Chilwell is priced as if he has a set piece monopoly, and he clearly doesn't have it. So I don't know how you even if James, or as Piliqueta starts for James, and let's say Ziyech doesn't start, it's still possible Chilwell doesn't get any set pieces because Mount takes them. There's too many for that price. There's really just no reason to pay it with the expectation of set pieces.
Right. I don't mind Joe Bryan either, but he had barely been starting.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the late game, so you're kind of screwed if you go down there. It's kind of weird to say. I know if he starts, he's not your favorite person, but what's wrong with Patrick Van Aanholt at 5,400?
Nothing. I think he's fine. I think he's kind of priced to have some set pieces that he might not have.
Right, but I mean, all these other Stuart Dallas and Luke Island.
Those guys, the Leeds guys are so expensive. I just don't understand why they're that expensive.
But I mean, I'll play the West.
I think Cresswell.
Right, I'll play the West Ham guys.
Yeah, Cresswell's been playing as a center back, but he's also taken set pieces. So I think he's as crazy as it sounds to pay 5,500 for a center back. I don't think it's that bad of a play, but if I'm there, why am I not just playing Reece James?
Or why don't I just play Masuaku? Why don't I actually play a full?
Oh, you could. I think that's fine.
Right. I think there's one guy that's going to be popular. It'd probably be in my cash game lineup. A lot of people played him last week, but I didn't think the construction fit. Why aren't we just playing Nathaniel Klein?
Nathaniel Klein?
3,100. I hear that sigh. He's 3,100. So you're telling me you'd rather fill up a midfield spot with Sander Burge than fill up a defensive spot in a slate where every defender seems to be overpriced, and he's 3,100 playing as a natural, and he's a natural fullback.
If you're going to play Klein for 3,100, why are we not playing Max Lowe for 2,600?
Why aren't we playing Max Lowe? Because he plays because it's Sheffield. It's I get you. You can't. I mean, you can, right? I mean, wouldn't I rather want to play a Palace player than a Sheffield player?
Wouldn't you just rather the 500 in salary?
What am I doing with the 500? What, going out to Dairy Queen with it? Am I going to need it?
Maybe. I don't know.
What? So I could get from Burner up to Townsend? That's not the money.
Is that even enough? It's not even enough.
Oh, to Zaha.
You need 600.
I'll find it somewhere else. I'll ask him for a loan.
Jeez. I mean, yeah, Klein is fine, sure.
On a slate where everyone seems overpriced, Klein seems underpriced. Like, he seems like he should be a 36 to $3,800.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, it's not like he's great, but on a slate where you have to pay $7,900 for Jack Harrison and $9,200 for Andros Townsend and $8,100 for Patrick Bamford, I mean, like it seems like a steal.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. I also wouldn't, like, as I'm here talking about how the matchup doesn't matter, so you can play max low at 2,600. I don't think I'd pay 3,900 for Baldock on the other side.
But truthfully, I mean, Baldock's a better player.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, in a favored matchup, I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, Lowe was like, what did he have last week? 4.4 against Man City?
You could get it done worse.
Yeah. I probably did pick a worse one. I think this is a slate you pay up for goalie.
Oh, on a slate where everyone's overpriced, you're going to pay up for goalie?
Yeah, I think you play Mendy.
Okay.
That's all I mean. Like, that doesn't mean like, yeah, pay 54 for Fabianski or 49 for Meslier, but like, I think you can play Mendy this week.
Well, in comparison to the odds of the games, that probably does make sense. The $400 difference, you'd rather gain so much more win equity.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking at the clean sheet, I mean, like, if you're going to, but Fabianski doesn't have that bad clean sheet percentage.
No, he doesn't.
Right? But I mean, obviously Chelsea is much more, I mean, he's higher win percentage. So like Chelsea's 68% to win, 43% for a clean sheet, while West Ham's 52% for a win and 35% for a clean sheet. So that basically says that Chelsea's most likely going to score, but are they going to keep a clean sheet? West Ham, maybe they just don't even score, right? I mean, it's like yeah, it's lower win, higher clean sheet equity, but why? I don't know why we're analyzing goalkeepers, but
so the expectation is that Chelsea definitely scores, and 43% odds for a clean sheet is higher than the goal odds of anyone except Werner and Abraham among expected starters. And he costs 3,000 less.
Right. And if you're going to get the win in the clean sheet, that's 10 points, which is the same amount of points as a goal.
Right.
Right. I think Mendy would make more sense in cash if you don't play Werner.
I think you can play both of them, but it lets you off the hook of like playing Ziyech or Mount.
Right. Because the whole theory behind that is that if the Chelsea forwards do well, Mendy probably gets a win, possibly a clean sheet, and the people that paid up that couldn't have realistically gotten to Mendy in those lineups, you're equaling the goal that the other guy scores.
Exactly.
So I do that a lot with Man City. I mean, we've talked about it before.
Yep.
That, like, if you're going to fade Aguero on Man City, just play Ederson. Because if Aguero has 2 goals, most likely Ederson's going to end up with 12 points.
But I think this is different in the fact that I think you're taking the primary goal scorer with him. It's the secondary guys you don't have to worry about, who we probably would be more interested in.
Right. So does that mean that we're paying up a goalkeeper, and we're paying up for at least one defender? So this is what, now I get it. This is why you're all in on Sander Berge.
I mean,
Sander
it makes
Berge,
sense.
It sounds like a bad chocolate candy.
Yeah.
I have nothing against him. Good luck with your 3 points. I mean, like, that's all I look at. I mean,
with Berge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need it, if you have everything else, okay, I get it. But what makes him any different than? That's what I said. What makes it any different than Nathaniel Klein? At least his clean sheet equity.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play a center back at at defender before that.
No, you're playing Max Low. No?
We'll see. I don't know. We'll have to wait for lineups to come out. This is the way it normally is. Lineups come out and some guy's not in, and then everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be prepared. So I mean, the first game, what's going to end up happening is that Van Aanholt's going to be in or Townsend's going to be out, and you're going to look at the Crystal Palace lineup with no Townsend, McCarthy, or Van Aanholt and go, who the hell's? And then next thing you know, it's 80%. Schlupp is 80%. Right? Like it's something like that, where like everyone's looking, going, I don't know who's going to kick the ball on dead balls. So like I guess it could be this guy or James McCarthy will be back. It'll be him. He's the only guy in there. So everyone goes down that rabbit hole, gets the 3 corner kicks, 3 yellow cards, and eight fouls, and yeah, great. He took all the set pieces and got a -1. Way to go.
Easy game.
Right. I just look for the bad things to happen. I've been doing well in my contests. I've just been building one lineup, playing primarily cash games. So I've been doing well, but doesn't mean I'll be happy on the podcast.
The full 9 to 5 is a real pain.
It's not that, but you set an alarm. You look and you go, 11:30 lineups come out.
Yeah, but if you happen to be doing like anything for that time, like,
do you know my life?
Well, yeah, but I think the biggest problem because I've had this just for family reasons, like haven't been like all in the morning. And the problem that I have is that when you end up checking lineups to make sure your guys are in, you're just missing the guys that you should be playing. That like, just because your guys are in doesn't mean that like somebody else is in that like, you're like, oh, I should have played that guy. It happened to me 2 weeks ago. I forget who like randomly started, but it was somebody that like everybody played. And
right,
I was like,
it was the guy. It was Christoph corner kick. He was in.
Right.
How did you not see that? I mean, It's in his name. Everyone played him.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. It's like if you just open the DraftKings app and you see the checks, you're like, okay, I'm good. But like you need to like actually check lineups and be like, oh, this guy I thought would be good is actually not because this other guy. And so like the whole like, oh, just make sure your guys are in. It's like there's much more to that.
Right, because you even get burned on people that like normally start at fullback and then unexpectedly they're going to play a 3-man back line and like we've seen that before,
yeah,
right?
We've seen that.
Like Bournemouth, you go like, oh, I'm going to play Simon Francis. And then it's like next thing you know, it's like Ryan Fraser's playing as a wing back.
Yeah.
And Simon Francis, you're looking at your app 27 minutes into the game and you're asking questions of whether or not he's on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens with Cresswell. That like early on, like before he basically had this center back role locked up, it's like, why hasn't he crossed yet? Why did I pay $5,800 for 0 crosses? And you're like, oh, he's a center back. The green check mark doesn't tell me center back.
Right. That's why you go to the RotoWire cheat sheets and the website for the starting lineups and the formations.
Yeah.
It's right there. You get that right from Opta, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's anything. It's the same line. It's the same formation you'd see in like SofaScore or any of the apps that you would use, and then you click on the names, and you could even get like their past game logs and even what positions they were in those games.
All there.
As usual, I'm selling the RotoWire more than you are.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Right, to sell things.
Yeah, right. All right. Anybody's any follow for Jordan, you can find him on Twitter at Blenderhead. That's BlenderHD. Theory of DFS podcast as well, which is that under Theory of DFS on YouTube, your videos? Or under Jordan Cooper?
Just search for it. iTunes, whatever.
Okay.
It's on my YouTube channel. Just follow me on Twitter. Who cares? Everything's there.
Yeah, perfect. We're also available in the RotoWire Discord, which is open for all subscribers. Excuse me. If you have not joined and would like to, just go to rotowire.com/chat. If you've been watching this on YouTube and enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of these. And if you are on the regular audio podcast, if you do, please rate and review it wherever you listen. Jordan, thank you for that, and good luck tomorrow.